Hey everybody, Legal Vices here, welcoming you to another episode of Last of Us. This is Last of Us Season 1, Episode 6, spoiler-filled, unprofessional, unedited, one-take review. Let's get right into it. This episode is called Kin. And again, there's no flashback introduction. It just goes straight into the Game of Thrones for Virus's opening. And from Episode 5 to Episode 6, there's a 3-month time jump. So Joel and Ellie, they're out somewhere out west. It's winter. There's a deer hanging. Joel brings some rabbits back from a hut. Oh, but wait a minute, it's not Joel. It's nobody. Well, it's an Indian family. But the guy brings the rabbit into the house to his wife, and Joel is in the house with a gun on the missus. Ellie drops an F-bomb. They're in Wyoming. They make the man point to on a map and says, never go west of the river. And he's pointing to Yellowstone Lake. So he's talking about the Yellowstone River, I take it. So they're getting closer to Utah, and I hope they go to Salt Lake City like they did in the game. That was fun to see Salt Lake City in the game. So here's hoping they make it to Salt Lake City. But the Indian wife, she says there's death there. They've never seen what's there, but they've seen the bodies they live. He said both living bodies of the formerly living and then bodies of the infected. So Joel and Ellie, they leave, they take off. And as Joel's walking out of the house, he's having some kind of chest pain, like some sort of PTSD or something. A heart attack. I don't know. He's like, and he kind of gets a little bit dizzy. And it's nighttime and they can see the Aurora Borealis really clearly. In Wyoming, that's a little far south. I mean, you'll be able to see the Aurora very, very rarely in like northern Utah and Wyoming. I mean, very rarely. So that was kind of a bit weird. But anyway, Ellie drops another F-bomb. They cross the river of death. Ellie drops another F-bomb. And there's a bunch of dudes on horses. They ride up and surround them. And there's a virus-sniffing dog. And the dog sniffs Joel, and there's no problem. But then, because Ellie's been infected, but she's immune. So Ellie and Joel are nervous. What's going to happen when the dog gets near Ellie? Well, the dog starts to growl and it gets near Ellie. And then Joel has another chest pain episode. But then the dog starts licking and playing with Ellie and they're having a frolicking good time. Phew, that bullet's dodged. Apparently it doesn't leave a stench of infection when you're immune. So Joel says he's looking for his brother. They ask what Joel's name is. And he says Tommy. And then they all ride back to the giant fort. Tommy's there. Oh my God, they found Tommy. And Ellie drops another F-bomb. And it's really wild because this is Jackson Hole, Wyoming. I love Jackson Hole. It's one of my favorite places. Now it's just been turned into a fort. Basically they've walled off Jackson Hole, Wyoming. That was pretty cool. And so Tommy and Joel, they talk about their murdering past together, and they're trying to mend fences with each other. Joel wants Tommy to go with him to find the fireflies, but Tommy says he can't because he has a wife and she's pregnant. Well, this makes Joel upset. Joel gets a little bit upset and says that, okay, fine, I'll just leave all by myself in the morning. Then Joel starts having more of these chest pains suddenly. It looks more like a panic attack now. Ellie, she finishes her shower. She looks on the bed and someone has gifted her a menstrual cup. Okay, so Ellie goes across the street to find Maria, Tommy's wife. Turns out that's who gave her the menstrual cup. Ellie drops an F-bomb, and Ellie learns that Joel had a daughter. She hadn't known this before because Joel never talked about her. So then they go into the community theater and they watch The Goodbye Girl. That was kind of a weird choice. But anywho, Joel tells Tommy that Ellie's immune and that Marlene sent him to take her to get with the fireflies so that their scientists can do things and make maybe a vaccine or something. Joel says he's weak and then he gets afraid. He says it feels like his heart stops. So that's what it was. It was panic attacks. Joel was having panic attacks apparently. And he says he has nightmares every night. And he wants Joel, he wants Tommy to take Ellie because he feels like a failure. Nothing ever goes right in his life and he can't protect anybody. And now he's getting too close to Ellie, I guess. And he's starting to worry that the same thing that happened to Ellie that happened to his daughter. So Tommy agrees to take her at dawn. Joel goes home to tell Ellie, but it turns out that Ellie overheard him talking to Tommy when she was walking home from Tommy's wife's place. And she drops an F-bomb at Joel. And then Joel gets pissed and says, "You aren't my daughter and I ain't your dad. We're going our separate ways at dawn." And Joel goes to sleep. In the morning, Tommy comes to get Ellie. He takes Ellie to the stables, and they're going in to get a horse. But Joel is waiting by a horse in the stable, and he gives Ellie the choice. You should make the choice. Do you want to go with me or do you want to go with Tommy? And she chooses Joel. So Tommy and Joel set off. They're bound on a course for the University of Eastern Idaho in Boulder. And along the way, Joel teaches Ellie how to shoot, and he teaches her about football and does some of these other bonding things. But then they finally get to Boulder, Colorado. They get to the university. Ellie drops an F-bomb, and they see a Firefly sign. And they head towards the Firefly sign. But that's where things kind of get weird again. There's no guards. There's no people. Something's wrong. The building seems to be empty. They hear a noise, so they're sneaking around the building trying to get away from this and trying to figure out what this noise is, but not get caught. So they're sneaking around, and it turns out it's just like a room full of monkeys, research monkeys, I guess, that have escaped, and they're just kind of running around, throwing stuff, and they all jump out the window. Ellie drops another F-bomb because monkeys. There they find a map. And yes, they find out that the Fireflies have gone to Salt Lake City. Woohoo, they're going to go to Salt Lake. So that's going to be pretty awesome. Can't wait until they get to Salt Lake. It's going to be fun because it was really fun in the game because it was very well designed like Salt Lake City, and I could follow them around on the map. It was cool. I knew exactly where they were at all stages in Salt Lake. So, hey, fun. But while they're going on their way, some raiders show up. Dun, dun, dun. They're there at the university. The raiders are showing up, and so they have to run away from these raiders, and they run back towards the horse. One of the raiders attacks Joel, and Joel like snaps his neck, and he's like, "Woohoo, they're done." And then Ellie looks at Joel, and Joel looks down, and he's got a piece of a broken baseball bat sticking out of his stomach, and he's like, "Oh crap!" And they get on the horse. Joel isn't doing too well as they ride away. And after a while, they're riding along some train tracks, and then Joel just like goes and falls out of the saddle. So Ellie freaks out. She jumps down out of the salad. She jumps down out of the saddle, and she's trying to wake him up, and he's not waking up. And as the curtain drops on the episode, "Never Let Me Down" by Depeche Mode starts playing, and that's the end of the episode. So as you know, this is the beginning of some really tense stuff if you played the game. So they're really ramping it up towards the end of this. We've got some cool stuff happening. So far they've followed the book. They've followed the game pretty closely. So if they're following the game throughout, there's going to be some cool stuff coming up in the last 3 episodes. Because again, there's only 3 more episodes, 9 episodes in the first season, and we've already finished episode 6. So everybody, come back again next time for episode 7 of this spoiler-filled, unprofessional, unedited, one-take review of The Last of Us. We'll see you there. Bye now.